Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, where everything you're about to hear and see has been done in one take. I'm your host, the One Take Man. Behind me, you might notice the background is a little bit different. That's because I'm moving, uh, you know, at the moment, or I am in the process of moving. And this is likely to be my setup moving forward. If you like it, I'm glad. If you don't, well, don't worry, it is subject to change. Aside from that, as you can see, I am once again on Steam and have Ambition Minuet in Power open. I first came to know this particular little video game by the fact that I've seen ContraPoints play it in several live streams, and I thought it looked interesting enough that I wanted to, get in on that action. And as you can see, both by the fact that I have achievements and by the fact that I've spent some time in the game, that I already played through it a bit. I actually have two playthroughs under my belt, and I want to go through a third one to cover up some loose ends and see some things that I wasn't able to in the first two. Regardless, I won't show you all of those playthroughs because really my what I already know about the game will might make any future videos I make about it less interesting, because it'll make me want to dive a little bit more into explaining stuff like mechanics uh, or plot plot connections over the course of the game, and I realize that might not be interesting for people who see it for the first time. But I will go through a brand new playthrough, and I'll show you what the prologue looks like, so you know what it is that you are going to expect. As such, I'll also not be playing the way the way I typically would, because I'm going to show you the tutorials, so you know what to expect when going through this game. Anyway, let me just check. Okay, yeah, check with that out of the way. Let's go. Credits, credits, credits. Okay, it's a bit loud. I hope this is better. Okay. I hope you can hear me well enough. The music doesn't sound too bad. Still gonna bring it down just a little. Sound effects as well. Okay, that's good. Choose resolution. Well, for some reason it starts me at 1280 and 720. There are a whole bunch of others I could choose. I'm gonna stay with this. I'm risking the fact that some smaller icons might not be as easily visible, but you know what, screw it. I'd rather have a stable recording. Okay, and new game. Prologue, Yvette's story, 20th of March 1789. I'm gonna go through a French accent when reading dialogue, just because, I don't know, I think it's funny. Anyway, let's get on through it. We're in a carriage, or rather the main character, Yvette Decaux, is in a carriage. The carriage rumbles and bounces along the cobbles as you approach Paris. It's taken over a week to get here, even carrying just yourself and your luggage. Also, you can't see it because, there's a window because the window I'm in covers it. There are a bunch of dots that indicate there's more story ahead and I should progress. To progress, you just click. Your fiancé, Armand, arranged for the carriage to take you from your small village to a tavern he enjoys called the Orphan's Feast. There he'll meet up with you. You'll likely take dinner together, and then he'll show you to your new home in Paris. For now, though, you've already finished all of your books, and Armand's letter is your only entertainment, other than staring out the window. And yeah, these buttons in the text box let you select what you'll do or say next. I think you're familiar with what a visual novel looks like. This is basically what it is. And also you have here credibility and peril. You can think of them as like good or bad karma in an RPG, except they don't cancel each other out, or at least not initially. If the peril meter fills up, you'll lose a lot of your credibility, and also a lot of favor with other characters in the game. Anyway, might as well take in the sights. You crane your neck out the window to Pierre et Paris. It's even more than you imagined. The streets are a riot of color and energy as people go about their days. Elegant persons of fashion strut like brilliant peacocks. Students stumble under the weight of their books. Beggars alternate between pleading for alms and shouting invectives at passers-by. I said I'd read dialogue in a French accent, and I skipped that when making the first choice. I'm gonna read out from now. I'm gonna read out all the choices, and then you'll see what I choose. Everything feels significant, like the world's next act hinges on all of their choices. That's not entirely wrong, because 1789 Paris. Need I say more? Though part of you is worried by your unfamiliar surroundings, you mostly feel excited. This place is to be the stage for your new life. Coachman, can we pick up the place, please? Read Armand's letter. Yeah, let's do that as well. Why not? World building. You must have read the brief letter over 100 times, but you always found a new detail to puzzle over. Armand's letters were often extremely long, a habit you'd frequently tease him for in your own missives. Chère Yvette, I know it may be sudden, but I want to invite you to live with me in Paris. Back in your provincial hometown, switching back to regular, to my regular reading. Back in your provincial hometown, you were engaged to Armand before he moved north to Paris to participate in the Estates General. I won't bother you with the historical details because reasons. He dreamed of changing the country, and this was the political event of the century. You mailed love letters soaked in perfume. He replied with volumes about how much he misses you. The romance of it all helped make up for the inconvenience. Not that your parents cared much about the romance. At first you've been afraid to tell them their youngest daughter wanted to move far away. Instead, they nearly threw you onto the carriage to follow Armand to Paris. Well, you understand the significant benefits your common family would receive from your marriage into a noble one. You couldn't help but be a little annoyed at their eagerness to see you off. Of course. I can't wait for you to see it. It's unlike anything back home. A truly vital place where anyone can be anything. Je t'embrasse, Armand. That was something you were looking forward to. A chance to be something more. After all, Baroness Yvette de Marbeau has a certain ring to it. Before you know it, the carriage starts slowing down. You must be here! Armand arranged to meet you at the tavern named the Orphan's Feast. Oh, the French is spreading. As tired and rumpled as you are, you're glad that he planned to meet you in a place with ample food and wine. When you arrive, the coachman helps you out of the carriage, and you find yourself outside a glowing, friendly-looking tavern. The sign shows a grubby-looking child holding a plate piled high with fresh bread and roasted meats. This must be the place. Here goes nothing. I'm gonna go enthusiastic. I'm not sure if it makes any difference, but whatever. Inside, a woman polishing a lantern looks up at you as you enter, and her face breaks into a bright smile. Bonjour, madame, and welcome to the Orphan's Feast. Her eyes linger expectantly on the door for a moment, before settling on you. You're suddenly reminded of how rare it is for women to travel by themselves. 1789, remember. How may I be of service? She asks. This is my first time here. Is there anything I should know to help me find my fiancé? And this option has a tutorial, or I'm looking for my fiancé, Baron Armand de Marbeau. No tutorial. I'm gonna show you the tutorial because, I want to give a presentation of this game. Don't worry, while the rest of the city can be rather cutthroat, the Orphan's Feast is a relaxed place for getting your feet under you. The woman puts down the lantern she was polishing. She favors you with a devious smile. This smile looks more serial killer than devious, but go ahead. Find guests worth talking to, and try to say the right things to the right people. You will never have time to talk to everyone, so try to use your time wisely. I'm sure that if you ask around, you'll be able to find your fiancé in no time. When she puts it that way, it suddenly sounds so easy. While you only have one outfit to your name at the moment, the Orphan's Feast doesn't feel like a particularly judgmental place in terms of fashion. That is something that is important in the game. Fashion, how you look, how you present yourself, because there are various factions within the game, and in order to appeal to all of them, you will need to wear outfits that they find interesting. Which outfits in particular they find interesting kinda changes, kinda stays the same. That's something you'll have to discover on your own. Your credibility won't be shifted by what you're wearing here. Okay? As long as you explore the tavern and talk to people, you should be able to find Armand soon enough. Okay, we got 2 turns, and we got conversations to pick. This is the party map, select the room to talk with the people. Yeah, and this is how the events of this is what the events of the game look like. You'll have maps, and from each of these maps, you'll have to find people to talk to, so you can progress within the story, whatever progress looks like to you. Let's look through the conversations. What does this guy have? A reason for travel. A fellow traveler sits at a nearby table, having recently become acquainted with Paris himself. Perhaps he'll be able to point you in the right direction. Also, you'll notice potential rewards. These rewards vary in many ways. Like, sometimes it can be favored to one of the game's love interests, and oftentimes it's either credibility or peril. Sometimes it's also gossip, which becomes important in the game and in ways you'll discover soon enough if you play on your own. Okay, what about this? Refreshments. You've spent a long time in the discomfort of that carriage. Now might be a good time to get something to drink and see if the staff knows where you can find Armand. Okay. What about this handsome gentleman? An amorous inquiry. While you search for Armand, a handsome young man approaches you. Perhaps you'll be able to help. I think I'll pick the boring option now, to be honest. I'm just gonna pick refreshments. You sweep your gaze over the crowded tavern and strain your ears to the sound of Armand's voice, but have yet to find anything. It's hard to walk around with all of your luggage, which only slows your progress further. The other patrons don't look particularly happy with you either. You bump into yet countless patrons with your bags, and your searching is starting to give the impression that you're eavesdropping. Just as you start to feel a little frustrated by this, the barmaid from before approaches you. Madame, you look parched. Can I get you anything? I'll take some of the house wine, please. You'll have to pay money for this. And yeah, money management does become a factor in the game. Just some water, please. I'm parched. My fiancé Armand is supposed to be here. Could you help me find him? I think I'm gonna pick this. Oh, a missing person. That sounds interesting. What's he like? He's funny, wears his hair in a ponytail, and always has a big grin on his face. He's intelligent, wears a blue coat, and always has a book or pamphlet with him. He's tall and handsome, with chestnut brown hair. I think, service personnel is more likely to recognize this. Blue coat always has a book or pamphlet with him. So, a smart fellow like that shouldn't be too hard to notice. Okay. You just stay here, and I'll see what I can find. She leaves your table to inquire with the other patrons about Armand. You're not sure if your description was enough to go off of, but she knows the place better than you do. Perhaps you'll have better luck. She returns a few minutes later and gives you a shrug. Madame, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I simply can't find your Armand anywhere. Can you find clues of him? She slips a piece of paper to you. You glance down and see a hastily written note. Ooh. Don't know what's going on. Patrons get upset when I mention your fiancé. Even the owner won't talk. Say nothing. Please, you have to help me find him. Pardonnez-moi, but it appears that you left something off of my receipt. I'm gonna go with say nothing. The barmaid gives you a tiny shrug, but otherwise remains silent. She leaves you, and you take this time to examine your fellow patrons. Now that you're not taking up too much space, people seem to have lost interest in you. You spend the next hour taking in the room, but can't seem to find any trace of Armand, even the sound of his laugh. Okay, second turn. Yeah, as I said, with every event you have a limited amount of turns to talk. Conversing in a room always costs 1 turn, so choose wisely. Okay, well, let's pick this one because there aren't really any options. Now that you are more acclimated to the guests and travelers of the Orphan's Feast, you should be able to find someone that can lead you to Armand. Okay, pick conversation. It's not like there are any other options. After hours of questioning and searching, it's late in the evening and you've still yet to find Armand. You're not even sure why, but you feel exhausted. Who knew talking to people was such hard work? Every introvert ever could have told you that. Now that you're warmed up, this may be your chance to finally find out where Armand is. You approach a woman who you had spotted glancing your way earlier. I'm looking for my fiancé, Armand. Have you seen him? Pardon me. Have you seen the Baron de Marbeau? My name is Yvette and I'm looking for someone. Can you help me? Let's go with this. At the mention of Armand's full title, she laughs nervously. This could be good, this could be bad. She makes small talk for a brief moment before excusing herself and disappearing into the crowd. Not a good sign. The room appears to be emptying out. A gentleman you remember seeing earlier walks by. He might prove a little more useful. Monsieur, a moment of your time. Have you seen my fiancé, the Baron de Marbeau? Excuse me, can you help a woman in need? Do you know a man named Armand? I think this might be better. He looks at you, glances over to the woman who you spoke with earlier, then quickens his pace as he walks by. Rude. But, okay, go ahead. The room is emptying out even faster now. You manage to get the attention of another woman. Hello, could you... Given all of the answers are cut short, I think you can guess what happens next. She doesn't even slow down before she leaves. Yeah. After a third person gives you the cold shoulder, you start to wonder what happened. Are you really that out of place? Is it something about Armand? What is going on here? Still, you check around the Orphan's Feast. One last time. There is no sign of Armand, not even an open tab with a tavern keep. Ooh, intrigue. Okay, I already knew that, but I should hype up the game a little bit for you. After waiting around for a few hours, you leave the Orphan's Feast, dragging your small mountain of luggage behind you. After all, the coach was only hired to take you to the tavern. Armand might not have been waiting for you like he said he would, but you memorized his address from all of the times you wrote it on your letters to him. It's the middle of the night, but the street is still teeming with life. The light from the windows and the street lamps sparkle like the stars. You're tired and your feet hurt, but still, you can't help but smile. This is it. This is Paris. No matter what happens, you're still here. For a brief moment, you're not a country girl dragging luggage through the streets. You're the person you feel that you are when you close your eyes, alone. You're overseeing a grand salon surrounded by poets, musicians, scientists, philosophers, and artists. You are elegant, sophisticated, and respected. Calling the house rustic, the house you arrive at, I think there should have been another slide before this, but whatever. Anyway, calling the house rustic would imply that you were out in the country, not in the center of a city. The house isn't technically in the center. There's a city map that is available within the game, but it's not available yet. You'll see where it is on that map. The neighborhood is nice enough, but you're worried that if you breathe too hard on the building, it'll fall over. Yeah, shit happens. A well-kept woman in the attire of a maid opens the door and approaches you. Ah, bonsoir. I assume you must be Madame Yvette. My name is Camille. Monsieur Armand told me to expect you. Merci, Armand. Please take me to Armand. Merci, Camille. Please take me to Armand. Is this where he lives? Oh God, the rats in there ate him, didn't they? I'm gonna go with this option. Because I want to be more... Maybe because I want to be more formal in this run. I was hoping that he was with you, Camille replies hesitantly. I haven't seen him in days. Thank you, Camille. Do you think Armand's alright? He has a lot of explaining to do. I'm sure he's fine, madame. Camille replies with a tone of voice that doesn't fill you with confidence. Glancing around, Camille seems to notice your mountain of luggage for the first time. Mon Dieu, madame! Did you carry this all yourself? You must be exhausted. She's not wrong. You're not certain how you're still upright and awake right now. I've already made your bed, madame. Please go inside and let me take care of this. You take your diary and leave the heavy lifting to Camille. The inside of the house isn't much better than the outside. Camille keeps the place tidy, but she can only do so much. Still, you don't care about that right now. You're just happy to have a roof over your head. You flop down on a nearby couch, open your diary, and start to write. You're tired, disappointed, and perhaps abandoned. But writing things down always helps you make sense of the situation. Yeah, expect after-party reports like this after every event. You get a description of the event and then the rewards you got from the event every single time. So it's yeah, it's basically like any other game where you complete missions or levels and then you get various updates on what it is you have at your disposal. Continuing, the 21st of March, 1789. Little level of exhaustion. A credibility penalty at your next party or rendezvous. Early the next morning, Camille approaches you, occasionally wringing her apron with her hands. She's obviously nervous. Madame, there's something you should know. Taking a deep breath, she continues. You're expected to attend a party the day after tomorrow, held by one Viscountess Marcel de Foix. I mean, Armand will reply to the invitation, but you are to be his date. Splendid. A party. What? Why didn't you tell me sooner? What do you know about the Viscountess de Foix? Let's go the happy option. Camille looks visibly relieved. Parfait. If you need anything washed or prepared, just ask. That reminds me, Camille exclaims. If you're going to a party, you should probably make sure you're dressed appropriately. Fashion moves so quickly here that the people retire outfits before they even wear out. At this proclamation, you can't help but notice that Camille's uniform has been repaired many, many times. Well, yeah, she's a maid. She isn't really entrusted with enough money to, get new outfits. Anyway, Camille continues. Monsieur Armand was always going through clothes so quickly. He said that every outfit had a certain amount of novelty. Every time you wore them to a party, the novelty would go down a bit. In fact, even a little thing like wearing the same thing twice in a row could run the novelty out faster. Can you imagine? Fortunately, he knew the most delightful clothier on Rue du Faubourg Saint-Honoré. She runs a shop called Le Petit Mogol. I'll draw you some directions. Immediately she starts sketching some directions. Mostly just simple renderings of local landmarks. Le Petit Mogol is now available to visit in the Paris map. Oh, looks like we'll visit the Paris map quite a bit sooner. If you head out today, you should be well prepared for the party tomorrow night. Okay, you have gained a level of exhaustion by attending a party, the visit at the Orphan's Feast. Any levels of exhaustion that you have at the start of a party or rendezvous will give you a penalty to your credibility. And you really need your credibility in this game because it's how you... It's what allows other characters to... it's what facilitates the interactions of other characters with you. Remember what I said about RPGs with good and bad karma? Yeah. That's something to consider. This is the wardrobe section where you can... This is our character disrobed, naked. This is the starting outfit, the provincial outfit. And here we have the factions within the game. And what it is and how much they like certain outfits. Depending on how much they like certain outfits, you get credibility bonuses. For example, with this provincial outfit, you'd get a 19 bonus with credibility if you're going to an event organized by the military. Speaking of, let's go to the journal. Notables, this is where your love interests will show up because yes, love interests plural. This is more or less a dating sim as well because, that's the French, polyamorous and moody. The most important tab here, however, or at least the most important in the way I play this game, is this one, the politics tab. As you notice, you'll have 3 minor factions, the bourgeoisie, the military, and the church. And two major factions, the revolution and the crown. Your dealings with with each of these factions changes the way the political situation develops within the game, and therefore ultimately also changes the outcome of the game. And in case you're curious, yes, you can in fact change history and keep France a monarchy. Let's see what is, and this is what it looks like at the start. And all of them have their, pretty little icons right here. Anyway, moving ahead, back to calendar, explore Paris. Okay, the home is somewhere around this neighborhood, so it's not exactly central, but yeah. Anyway, let's go to Le Petit Mogol and get a dress. It's a long walk to Rue du Faubourg Saint-Honoré, but the trek to the narrow street is worth it. Every block hums with a vibrant energy, bursting with life. Porters and social climbers wind their way through the streets, festooned with brightly colored parcels. I hope the sound isn't too loud. I've had this problem when I tried to record my other playthroughs. It's why I'm recording this one. Anyway, moving ahead. Paris may be a city swimming in fashion and finery, but this is the source. This street is home to all the major fashion houses in the country, and to Rose Bertrand, personal dressmaker to the queen herself. Okay? And now you're here. Back home they sigh and dream of places like this, then quietly get back to their little lives. Not you. Your circumstances may be less than ideal, but you're still here. Le Petit Mogol, you mumble to yourself idly, trying to make sure you remember the name of the shop. Eventually, you find a small boutique tucked between some far grander buildings. You open the door and walk into the tiny shop, which seems even smaller due to how absolutely full it is. This isn't just a boutique, it's a workshop for whoever works here. Rolls of gorgeous fabric cover every available surface. A cloying smoke hangs in the air. The scent is pleasant, but wholly unfamiliar. As soon as the door swings shut behind you, you hear a sudden rustling of fabric further in the store. A customer! Hamdullah! A surprisingly young voice calls out. Bonjour, madame, and welcome to Le Petit Mogul. A woman, presumably the owner, calls out to you. How may I help you? Also notice the music. It's somewhat tailored to the setting. I have to say the music in this game overall is very much one of its high points. Anyway, back to the dialogue options. I have an important party soon and I need to look amazing. The no tutorial option. All of this is so new. What can you tell me about outfits and fashion? The tutorial option. I'll pick this, but because I want to show the game to you. But before that, what is that smell? Let's go a bit into some world building first. Oh, that. Her cheeks flush with embarrassment. That's lucky incense. I light it on slow business days. Her next words are a quiet mumble. My mother gave it to me. Now, how may I help you? As I said, tutorial option. At those words, she looks giddy to the point of bursting, but tries to play it off as a knowing smile. This deception is only half successful. Oh, I think I can help you with that. Select one of my outfits to see if it's to your liking. Remember, my stock changes every day, so be sure to visit often. That being said, okay. Every faction in this game prefers different kinds of outfits. As I've said previously, dressing appropriately for the occasion makes people trust you more and increases your credibility. If you like it, you can click the purchase button to buy it. However, you also need to have the money for it. See, that's why managing money is important. You need to be able to buy the clothes that make each faction like you. This is the event that's coming up is a crown event, so the first outfit needs to look good for the crown, or needs to appeal to the crown. This outfit only appeals to the crown, only adds +2 to my credibility, so it's not best. Also, the purchasing price is way too steep. What about robe à la française? Oh, the crown hates this. Moving ahead, robe de cour. The crown is indifferent to this. What about instead of robe de cour? Oh, the crown likes this. Or at least somewhat. 6. And it's affordable. Nice price, by the way. How about the robe à la française? Ooh, they hate this. So yeah, robe de cour it is. Purchase. You've just spent some of your money. Livres are used to buy outfits, pay servants, and more. Try to make sure you always have some on hand. Ideally, I recommend you have somewhere between 400 and 600 on hand at all times. If you have too much, just spend it somewhere. Or if you have more than that, like you can get her more than that, but really your game situation is not improved by having more. Anyway, moving ahead. Leave shop. Yeah, that was a whole day event. Going to the shop and buying a dress. You awaken to the vision of sunlight filtering through the shutters, scattering sunbeams across this dusty bedroom. Takes a few minutes before you groggily remember the events that brought you here. You also remember that tonight you have a party to attend. Camille enters your bedroom, already full of cheer. Madame, when would you like to start getting ready? If this is as important as the invitation makes it seem, I should start preparing now. Not yet, Camille. I still have some things I need to take care of today. Camille winces at the statement and looks at the floor. I don't know how to tell you this, madame, but party preparations for women of your station usually take all day. On days where you have a party, you won't really have time to spend exploring Paris. Once you go to your wardrobe, we can get started. Don't worry, Camille, I'm already quite good at this. I've never really done anything like this. Is there anything I should know? So, this is the no tutorial option. I'm picking the tutorial option because once again I'm presenting this game. Don't worry, madame. A glamorous woman like yourself is sure to catch on quickly. Click here to go to the wardrobe. First we go, to go to the party, first we go to the wardrobe. This party is being held by the Crown. They like conservative gowns. Sometimes they like caracot ensembles and robes à la polonaise. Click on an outfit to select what you'll wear to this party. I already said robe de cour because it gives me some favor. Okay. Now that you have an outfit selected, you can click here to go to the party. So, let's go. When your carriage drops you off at the party, you find yourself waiting in line for quite some time. Looking at the other guests, you wonder if you're underdressed or overdressed. It's honestly hard to tell. Being exhausted gives you a credibility penalty, but I already have no credibility, so I already have 0 credibility, so there's, no likelihood of, so I can't really descend from that. You look over yourself one last time and confirm that you're wearing your robe de cour to a party being held by the Crown. Okay, credibility up. You've just gained some credibility. The more credibility you have, the easier it is for you to deceive someone during a credibility check. Yeah, there are various dialogue prompts will either will challenge your credibility, meaning that if you have enough credibility, it works. But if you don't have it, it might actually get you a credibility penalty and add to your Pearl score. Okay, the guests approve of your outfit, and your credibility has increased. That's good. With preparations like this, tonight should be a largely positive affair. While you're determining your standing in a world of fashion, you manage to overhear an interesting rumor while in line. You make a mental note of it just in case. You have gained a piece of cheap Crown gossip. This will be useful later. I'll tell you right now how it's useful. You'll sell it to a newspaper, because yeah, that's how you make money in this game, by selling the rumors or the gossip you encounter as news stories. Immediately upon entering the vestibule, you're greeted by a doorman holding a small ledger. While he isn't physically barring your entry, his manner certainly is. Name, madame? He asks expectantly. I can go Yvette Decaux or Baron Armand de Marbeau. Let's go with this. The valet looks shocked. Baron, why are you dressed? A moment later, he composes himself. Ah, I see you are the Baron's date. My apologies. Is there anything I can get you? Please convey my deepest gratitude to our hostess, and that I'm eager to meet her. Would you be able to take this gift of wine to our hostess? That'll leave me 10 livre poorer, but it does have another benefit, you'll see. With a small flourish, you present a bottle of wine you had the forethought to bring earlier. It wasn't cheap, but the gesture is more important. You have spent 10 livres. Ah, merci beaucoup, madame. I'll make sure the Viscountess is aware of your generosity. Turning from you, he waves imperiously another servant nearby, takes the bottle from you. Afterwards, the servant dutifully scurries away. You hear some appreciative murmurs from other guests in the vestibule. Your gratitude and enthusiasm seem to have made an impression on them, doing away with some of the tension in the air. Surprisingly, the doorman himself seems rather unfazed. Peril down, credibility up. Yeah, there are very small mechanical flourishes like this that the game throws at you. Before you can ask any other question, he bows deeply to you. Okay, spelling isn't always this game's strong suit. Pardonnez-moi, madame. Viscountess de Foix instructed me specifically to inform her as soon as you had arrived. We've heard so much about you. Enjoy the party, he says with a smile before leaving. Okay. And now these are the 3 conversations I can pick. What is this one? The Royal Painter. Some guests are admiring a painting of the hostess. Apparently it was painted by someone of considerable skill. In fact, you might even be able to meet such a person later. And these are the potential rewards of this conversation. You can gain some credibility, lose some more, gain or lose some favor with a character who will most likely be actually introduced in this scene, or gain some peril. What about this scene? This conversation. The royal household. A pair of ladies are whispering amongst themselves about some rumor concerning the family of His Majesty, King Louis XVI. That information could be useful later. You can get cheap crown gossip, credibility, and this is what it can happen to your credibility and to your peril. And what about this gentleman here? The gentleman who just entered the room seems like he's been to quite a few of these sorts of events. Perhaps you can tell me more about the host of the party, Viscountess Marcel de Foix. This one is the one that'll have the most story relevance. You'll see why soon enough. So I'm going with this. In one corner of the party, you find 2 guests clustered around a painting hanging on the wall. They're talking in low voices to themselves. You pause to examine the painting yourself. It's a beautiful piece that shows the hostess standing in a field, posing with her dog. The eyes and lips in particular look marvelously lifelike. Do you have any idea how Marcel managed to get this? A man asks, his face the picture of shock, not taking his eyes off the painting for a moment. He must know the Viscountess de Foix very well in order to use her first name so freely. I have no idea, the woman replies, glancing furtively around the room. Ever since Madame la Baronne started painting portraits of the Queen herself, she seems to feel that she's above normal social niceties. It must have cost a fortune just to make an opening in Madame la Baronne's schedule. You assume that Madame la Baronne knew much about societal niceties to begin with, the man quips, and the 2 of them share a slight chuckle at the absent artist's expense. You'd think that someone who worked on commission would care a little more about what others thought of her. The woman turns and asks furtively, what do you think of Madame la Baronne and her eccentricities? Personally, I've always admired her willingness to strain against convention. I think Madame la Baronne can be as rude as she pleases. Her skills speak for themselves. Not even great painters are above the consequences of society. La Baronne will have hers yet. So, okay, we have credibility check, option that will give me peril, and neutral. Normally I stay as far away from the neutral option as possible. I'm gonna go with the credibility option here because I don't know, I think it's the one that will give me most renown. And renown is important in this game. That's why credibility and peril don't cancel each other out. Though if you get the gauge full of peril, that's not good for you. Or you can get away with it if it's in the early stages of the game, but in the late stages of the game it can screw you over. I'm not sure to what extent, but it'll screw you over. Let's go with this. Surprised, the man turns to you with a cocked eyebrow. Oh? You really think making beautiful work can justify her transgressions? The one-snide guest stands quiet for a while, considering your point. Slowly they nod, and their faces break into polite smiles. My, I didn't realize we had such a fan in our midst. I suppose one can forgive an artist for being so eccentric, as long as their work remains beautiful. That qualifier at the end of her statement feels unnecessary, but it's an improvement. Oh, this was her line. I should have read it in a more female voice, but okay. You have gained a little favor with Madame Lebrun. Don't worry, you'll meet her later. I hope. With an exchange of polite nods, you part ways with these guests in order to explore the rest of the party. There isn't really much of a rest of the party to explore, just a meeting with the hostess. Marcel appears. A woman in a staggeringly pink dress is approaching you, carrying her pet dog. Judging by the way other guests are looking at her, you can surmise that this is the Viscountess Marcel de Foix, the woman who invited you and Armand here. Well, okay, pick conversation. Again, it's like I have other options. Okay, this is her. You nearly mistake the woman standing in front of you for some kind of walking confection. A pampered dog lounges in her arms. I don't believe we had the chance to properly introduce ourselves. I am Viscountess Marcel de Foix. Her voice raises in volume imperceptibly, but it's enough to draw the attention of the large crowd in the room. Everyone, this is Yvette, Armand's fiancée. A murmur of interest washes through the crowd, and you can feel their eyes focus on you. I am so glad to see you. Armand, that ambitious little thing, has told me so much about you. In fact, I'd say that he's quite infatuated with you, a common girl like yourself. You're so lucky. You have gained a little credibility. That's good. Where is Armand, by the way? That's actually what I was hoping to find out. Do you know where I could find him? Poor Armand is ill at the moment, but he just insisted that I attend your party. Well, I can't know that, so I'm gonna go with this. Marcel stares at you, concerned and shocked. You don't know where he is, and yet you still came to this little event of mine? She gestured a free hand at the most splendid party you've ever seen in your life. That is so kind of you. Of course I'll help. You have gained a little credibility. After all, you've already helped me. Okay. Armand, that ambitious little rat, was always reaching above his station, always asking for people to listen to ideas that nobody should even dare entertain. His audacity truly knew no bounds. Her eyes are focused on you, but she's speaking to the crowd, who seem to whisper in agreement. Even the dog regards you with malice. This is regards you with malice, by the way. Now, not only do I find out that he's a coward who's fled his fiancée and the consequences of his goal, but now I have this commoner who doesn't know her place either. Why did you invite Armand here? I'm guessing this means you don't know where he is? I may be a commoner, but at least I know how to treat my guests. I am very much going to go with this. For a moment the crowd hushes. You seem to have struck a nerve. Even the dog looks a little undone. I suppose that when cornered even a rat will think it's a lion, Marcel whispers, her voice like ice. You have gained quite a bit of credibility. You have gained a little favor with members of the revolution. You'll see for yourself, if you decide to play this game. She advances on you, close enough to feel the heat of her breath. For you to feel the heat of her breath. Let me be clear. You and your grasping, traitorous fiancé are not guests in my home, nor will you ever be. I invited him here so I could express my displeasure to him in person. You have gained some peril. While perilous decisions can often get you what you want, if your peril bar fills up, then it means something unfortunate will happen to you. Be careful with how much you take on, as I said. Now pay attention, because I'd hate for you to miss the point. If you should ever find your wandering Armand, tell him that he is an unwelcome, conniving weasel. In fact, both of you should go back to your petty little village and leave Paris to your superiors. Marcel studies your face intently for a moment, and her voice suddenly fills with concern. Oh, you poor girl, don't look so hurt. Think of this as educational. You don't belong in Paris, the same way that a stray cat doesn't belong in that dress. She gestures dismissively at your finery. You've lost a little credibility. Oh shit. Trying to look like us? Act like us? Stop. You're just embarrassing yourself. You have lost some credibility. Now leave my estate and never show your face here again. A missing carriage. Before you can reply, a valet grabs you roughly by the arm and drags you from the room. People like Viscountess de Foix don't need to do their own dirty work. They have servants for it. It takes far longer than you'd like to get outside, as the entryway is crowded with guests preparing to leave. You can feel their eyes weighing heavily on you. When you finally get to the door, you feel a brutish shove, and you stumble out into the courtyard, barely keeping your balance in your heels. The area is equally crowded, with various persons entering their personal carriages. You can hear somebody snicker, but you have no idea who it was. The only thing left to do is go home. This has been a night. I'll just leave. That's fine by me. My face was the only pretty thing in that gaudy house anyway. Yeah. I'm gonna be petty. Boiling over with anger, you turn and rain insults upon the house, upon the host, even upon her dog. In fact, you consider throwing your shoe through one of their windows, before you remember how much you like that shoe. It's then that you notice that several of the carriages have stopped, just to watch your display. Oops. Scanning the faces of your new audience, you see the glaring, unamused faces of the various party guests. Your views on Marcel and the crown in general have not gone unnoticed. The coachmen and valets, on the other hand, think you're hilarious. Ooh, you have lost some favor with members of the crown, you have gained some favor with members of the revolution. You will meet these people later. If you play the game. You nod to the more appreciative members of your audience before leaving towards your own carriage. When you arrive at the place where your carriage is parked, you quickly find out that it isn't. It's gone. You check to make sure you're in the right place, but to no avail. The carriage you hired is simply not there. You went home, a passing coachman says helpfully, while adjusting the harness of a particularly grumpy horse. Dorman came out about an hour ago and told him you wanted the coach to leave without you. Seemed really important, so he went home. Before you can even respond, he gets his carriage moving, leaving you alone with yet another indignity. Going back to Marcel is obviously unacceptable. It's too far to walk home, and most of the other guests have already left. However, there appear to be 3 other carriages waiting to leave, each of them quite different. Perhaps one of them can help? Inspect the humble carriage to the left, inspect the bold carriage in the middle, inspect the extravagant carriage to the right. I'll let you on a little secret. The first event you will attend in this game, namely, this party, is always hosted by one of 2 people, either the Viscountess de Foix or the Baron de Terme, or Treme, I forget exactly which. And they are affiliated with either the Crown or the Revolution, one of the 2 major factions of this game. The bearers of each of these 3 carriages are affiliated with one of the smaller factions of the game. The humble carriage belongs to Ludovico, the priest affiliated with the church. The extravagant carriage belongs to Honorade, the affiliated with the bourgeoisie, or rather the love interest associated with the bourgeoisie. The bold carriage in the middle is the one I haven't taken in previous playthroughs, and it belongs to Thomas Alexandre Dumas, who was affiliated with the military. And in case that name sounds familiar, no, he is not the Alexandre Dumas you're thinking about, it's his father. So, let's go with that. The carriage in front of you is obviously being used by a soldier of some sort. The driver is leaning intently towards the passenger compartment, waiting for orders. You recognize the insignia of the Queen's Dragoons on the side of the carriage. It feels noble and proud, but also capable. You consider the bold carriage for a moment. Is this who you'd like to ride with? He's a man of honor, sworn to protect France. And the next best thing to that, let's go. Perhaps not. I'll examine the other carriages. Settled in your decision, you set out, ready to entrust your fortune to an honorable stranger. At the sound of your approaching footsteps, the coachman's hand flickers towards his weapon. Turning towards you, he looks you up and down before he relaxes. With an apologetic nod, he gestures you towards the door of the carriage. You rap your knuckles gently against the carriage door. The door opens immediately, and a man inside steps out. I have to say this is a very pretty rendering of the man. I am straight, but this guy still looks good. I can say that, because that's how straight I am. He bows to you, formal and precise. Corporal Dumas of the Queen's Dragoons. I should probably give him a more Caribbean accent because he was born and raised in Haiti, but I don't know what that sounds like. How may I be of service? My name is Yvette Decor. May I trouble you for a ride to my home? Please, call me Yvette. I have been beset by grave misfortune and need your help. Yeah, I want to inflate his sense of importance here, so I'm gonna go with this. He glances off to the side and shuffles his feet slightly. That does sound terrible. How can I refuse? Corporal Dumas gestures to the carriage, and you climb in. The second you're seated, the carriage takes off, working its way towards the main road. Somewhat awkward that he's still standing here, but oh well. The pace is fast and purposeful. Well, yeah, military. Corporal Dumas is across from you, not quite staring, but certainly assessing you. I don't mean to be rude, but what was an enlisted man like yourself doing at that party? Did you have a good time tonight? What made you decide to give a stranger like me a ride? I'm gonna go with this. This is the most polite option. When I wear these colors, I represent the Queen herself. I could never turn down a woman in need. He straightens up in his seat, looking every bit the man of action. Besides, it's the right thing to do, which is its own reward. How would you find yourself to be without a way home? Would you believe someone tricked my coachman into leaving without me? Our horrid host convinced my idiot coachman to abandon me. Well, he already thinks I'm in... I'm gonna... He's kind of simping for me, so I'm gonna play into that a little bit. Yes. It's as people say. He stumbles for a moment as the words evade him. Good help is so hard to find these days. Obviously, a lack of discipline is not a problem we run into in the Queen's Dragoons. Corporal Dumas points to his coachman, who seems about as disciplined as any other military man you've seen. Would Yvette have seen a lot of military men, though? We are fortunate that way, I suppose. He grimaces. It's either that or the floggings. Yeah, what can I say? 18th century discipline. Especially 18th century military discipline. Any other questions? Did you have a good time tonight? Of course! I enjoy being the center of attention, and there isn't an audience I cannot thrill, he laughs. From the theater to the sword, I have a repartee for all occasions. That's nice. As you can tell, I'm also extremely humble. He gives you an exaggerated wink. Okay, he's actually a nice dude. So, what about yourself? What happened in there? My fiancé has some enemies. They try to make sport of me. Emphasis on tried. Our host felt it was acceptable to victimize me for something my fiancé did. That's not true. I'm gonna go with this. Corporal Dumas nods approvingly. I saw your performance outside, right as you left. You don't seem very shaken. You have gained a little favor with Alex. Okay, that's good. He sighs and looks out the window at the passing scenery. You made the right move. There's a certain kind of person that sees sport in hurting the vulnerable, whether that vulnerability comes from circumstance, ability, or birth. You should know, Thomas Alexandre Dumas was the son of a slave. Or rather, his father was an officer, his mother was a slave. Thankfully for him, his dad decided that he would be a soldier, and that's how he ended up being in France's military. He's not the only one, but he is among the more noteworthy one, even if he's only noteworthy, through his son. Where is that? Where was I? Oh yeah, here. They're all the same craven creatures that feed on feeling powerful. You can never let them see their barbs land, even when they sting. You deserve better. Okay, looks like I'm not gonna evade this option. I don't mean to be rude, but what was an enlisted man like yourself doing at that party? You're not being rude, it's a fair question, he replies, flicking his rank insignia for emphasis. Every now and again, someone remembers my father and sends me an invitation as a courtesy between nobles. Despite my considerable talents, I think they're really just inviting my father's memory, not me. Still, I attend because I'd hate to insult the host by turning them down. A comrade of mine was nice enough to arrange for me to have this carriage for the evening. He waves around to your conveyance, which is probably only meant for officers. Let me turn this question around. What's a commoner like you doing at that party? My fiancé is missing, and he was supposed to be there. I'm just looking for leads. I've been abandoned by the love of my life, and now I have to find him. So, well, both these options are kind of, are kind of begging, are kind of like, I need your help, but I kind of want to make, but I kind of like the low-key simping he's doing, which is probably very racist of me to say now that I say it out loud. But, so do I go for the simping option, or do I go for the more courteous option, or the one that makes me look more independent? I think this is better. You're a woman on a mission then, Corporal Dumas grins, offering a mock salute. When you find him, I'm sure he'll appreciate your loyalty. At least I can't imagine a man who wouldn't. Okay, he likes me a little more. You talk with Corporal Dumas for a while longer, exchanging jokes and pleasantries. The conversation turns to your childhood in the country and coming to Paris. As you might have guessed, I'm not from Paris originally either. My father had to sell some precious things in order to bring me across the ocean and pay for my schooling. Needless to say, I was immediately captivated with life here. How are you finding your first few days in Paris? Disappointing. This place has been nothing but cruel to me. Well, that's not true. It's trying. Harsh consequences, but I see the possibility of greater rewards. Exhilarating. It's a whole city of luxury, love, and knowledge. This is the most truthful one. Finally, someone who gets it. Corporal Dumas slaps his thigh and laughs with excitement. Amazing! I'll have you know that it took me over a year in Paris to fully grasp that fact. Okay, I gained some favor. He stares out the window at the city. Sometimes I feel like that's why I fell in love with this place. It does not love unconditionally. It can be infuriatingly fickle. Still, here you can climb to heights greater than any other place in the world. True for the time, perhaps. Still think was the British Empire bigger at this time? Okay, I think it was bigger before the USA rebelled, but as of right now within this game, I think right now in this game it's March 22nd. I think George Washington was elected president by then, elected and appointed. So yeah, it's fairly safe to say that Britain doesn't have the same prestige it once had. Your conversation dies down as fatigue overtakes you both. Soon there is only the sound of the carriage's wheels and the horse's hooves as you wind your way through Paris to your home. You've almost drifted off to sleep before you're jolted awake by the carriage coming to a stop. I'm just checking my phone to see, what it's like. The coachman opens the door and waves you out. As you're stepping down, Corporal Dumas looks out at the door at your home and whistles to himself. You've chosen quite a place to live. Well, if nothing else, the rent will be cheap. I'm getting a little favor with Alex. Yeah. Until we meet again, madame, he calls from the carriage with a quick bow as they drive off into the night. You turn to your home and see that Camille is already there, holding the door open for you. Who was that? She asks. A good soldier doing his duty, nothing more. A most intriguing man of honor, and hopefully someone I'll see more of. I have to say, so far I'm This is more truthful. Your mind brimming with new possibilities, you step inside and head upstairs. Slowly you get undressed and open your journal to record exactly what transpired tonight. And yeah, as I said, this is what an after-party report looks like. The party, you've lost some novelty, and what you've gained. A piece of cheap crown gossip, some credibility, some peril. You lost some favor, you gained some favor, you lost some money. You'll need to gain money, and I already said how you sell it. You sell it to a newspaper. I think we have, let's see now. Okay, chapter 1, establishing oneself. The morning after disaster. You awaken the next morning in a bed that still feels unfamiliar. In the process of waking up, you start to recall the last night's humiliations, and wish that they were merely the product of your fitful dreams. Unable to go back to sleep, you spend some time tossing and turning in bed before finally sitting up. Nothing is going to make last night go away. The only option is deciding what to do next. You feel exhausted. Not physically, but in your very soul. Like your fate in Paris has already been decided, and that to remain here would be pointless. It would just be the humiliations of last night, over and over again. However, stronger than the exhaustion is the simmering rage you feel, at the outrageousness of your circumstances, at the injustices of your treatment, and at the thought of going back to your tiny village after finally making it here to Paris. No, you must not go back. You cannot go back. Not while a single candle of your ambition still burns. Camille pops into your room, already dressed and ready for the day. Bonjour, madame, she beams. It looks like you had quite an active night. Is there anything I can get you? Please find a spare pillow and smother me. I'm not sure. Do you know how to make a murder look like an accident? Some kind of refreshment, please. I'm gonna go to the self-deprecating option because it's funny. I'm sorry, madame. The other cushions are waiting to be washed. We can't have you end your life with a dirty pillow. It would be improper for a woman of your station. I'm a baron's fiancé. That's not too big of a stretch. Anyway, while you wait, I must insist on getting you something to drink. Going without wouldn't be healthy. What can I get you, madame? Tea, please. I need to keep my wits about me if I'm going to regain people's trust. I'll have some wine. Knowing the memory of last night will make me less anxious. Tea is better. Camille returns so quickly with a tea that you're certain she made it ahead of time. It's piping hot, fragrant, and not too bitter. You drink the brew in silence, the gears of your mind slowly getting up to speed. The tiredness fades. Your anger does not. Okay. You have gained a little credibility. That's good, even though no one saw me, except maybe Camille. You take a few moments to finish your drink in silence and collect your thoughts. Something that keeps coming to mind is all the gossip you've heard during your time at the party. You've really only heard one piece of gossip, but anyway. Most of it was idle prattle, but some of it felt scandalous and valuable. Without an inheritance or a job, you'll need a way to make some money. Maybe someone will be willing to buy this gossip? Is that a thing people do? Camille taps her chin thoughtfully. Well, when I was at Les Halles the other day, someone mentioned something about a newspaper with these amazing society pages. I think it was called La Trompette du Peuple, the trumpet of the people. Get it? La Trompette du Peuple is now available to visit in the Paris map. They'd have to get their stories from somewhere, why not you? In fact, I bet you'd be great at that, madame. Merci, Camille. I think I'll do just that. I've gone from Baroness to B to gossip monger. Great. Just great. Well, people have to make their living, Baroness. Yeah, sorry, I'm letting my real politics get in the way. I've had another playthrough to go through that. I now have other inclinations to look into. That's mainly why I'm doing this playthrough. So, I'm gonna think, or I'm gonna be polite. With that, your day begins. And yeah, that was the end of my playthrough for now. I'm gonna saving, and quit. All unsaved progress will be lost. Yeah. I do have to say the calligraphy and the design of this game is Very good. Anyway, quit game. Let's see, for how long have I been recording? Over an hour. Okay, that's enough. That was Ambition, Minuet in Power. Or at least that was the prologue and a little bit of the first chapter. A full review of this game is upcoming. First, I gotta get through this final playthrough, and then I'll do it. Until then, thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this video, somewhat chaotic as it was. If you did, then please leave a like, maybe even share the video wherever you think other people will like it or find it interesting. If there is anything you would like to add to the video, to the game, or to how I play it, or to how I explain it, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you. I also have a main channel where I talk about more book-related and literature topics, a link to which you will find in the description down below, right past my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. My Patreon is down there as well in case you want to support me more directly. Until next time, I have been the One Take Man. And now to close the recording.